2. Coming to you live from the MediaPlex in downtown Windsor, this is a presentation of St. Clair College Journalism.
It's Friday, and that means it's time for MediaPlex Friday Live. I'm Zachary Balog.
I'm Riley Livingston.
I'm Ksenia Semenova.
And I'm Ibrahim Rana.
And you are in for a half hour of news, views, commentary, and maybe a few laughs.
On today's show, Crime Stoppers will join us.
Every day's a holiday at the MediaPlex.
The sports guy is in the house.
And we recap the Super Bowl.
And this is and more we have on MediaPlex Live.
Ibrahim has the latest weather forecast for us. So what does the weekend have in store?
Today's weather in Windsor is a bit foggy this morning, but will be accompanied with some shiny sun with a temperature of 2.4 Celsius. Tonight will be cloudy, followed by a few flurries, bringing the temperature down to -9 Celsius. Saturday will mainly be cloudy with a 40% chance of flurries in the morning, which will clear near noon. Wind will be flowing through at 15 kilometers an hour, so wear your coats. And Sunday, the day of the Lord, will be given a clear sunny day followed with some winds.
Constable Lauren Briscoe from Crime Stoppers gives us our weekly Crime Stoppers update.
On February 16th, shortly before 6 a.m., officers responded to an active fire in the 700 block of Elliott Point Road in Amherstburg. A newly built home was engulfed in flames when emergency crews arrived. The home was fully destroyed in the blaze, and the roof of the neighboring residence sustained damage. The fire is being treated as suspicious. The structure was vacant at the time of the incident, and no physical injuries were caused by the blaze. Investigators are asking any residents to check their surveillance or dash cam footage for possible evidence. If you know any information, you're asked to contact the Windsor Police Arson Unit. You can also contact Windsor-Essex County Crime Stoppers at 519-258-8477 or go online at catchcrooks.com. I'm Police Coordinator Lauren Briscoe.
Diksha is here to tell us how some pet owners feel about microchipping. If you own a dog in Windsor, you might be eligible for a refund. In Windsor budget for 2024, the city decided that if you prove your dog has been nurtured and microchipped, you won't have to pay a registration fee when you license your pet. Barbara with her rescue dog.
I hope that everybody gets the chip. It's really important for you to have it if your dog gets lost. Or if somebody steals it, then they'll be able to prove it that it's not theirs, so I'm all for it.
The Windsor-Essex County Human Society stated that it will definitely motivate individuals to have their dog nurtured and microchipped. I am Diksha reporting for MediaPlex News.
Every day is a holiday here at the MediaPlex. According to Ksenia, what do you have for us today?
So, holiday is every day. Today is Friday, February 23, is Curling Coal Day. Did you know that this game was invented in 1500 in Scotland and just after was brought to Canada? And from that time, the conception did not change too much. You launch, you sweep, and you score. Saturday, February 24, World Bartender Day. Can tell this is one of the oldest professions that exists. So celebrate this day giving a generous tip to your local bartender. Sunday, February 25th, who does like soup here? It's me. So today can celebrate a clam chowder day. Monday, February 26th, tell a fairy tale day. I would make this day officially a day to dress up like characters from favorite fairy tales. The first fairy tales were dated by 3000 BC, but of course the most famous and fundamental fathers of the fairy tales were Brothers Grimm, Charles Perrault, and Hans Christian Andersen. Tuesday, February 27 is National Pokemon Day. In 1996, February 27, was released famous Pokemon and Pikachu for everyone in the world, and the original name of the Pokemon was Pocket Monsters. Wednesday, February 28. This day has so many cool holidays like Fairy Tooth Day, also official everywhere sleeping day, and it's a pink day, and also chocolate souffle day, and happy birthday to my husband. Thursday, February 29, It's an amazing day. We're lucky for a leap year this year. An extra day to your own things to do. Today is also an interesting day for different cultures. For example, in Greece, you cannot marry this day because your marriage will be unlucky. But if you're in Ireland, woman can propose on this day to the man, and a man cannot even refuse because he can be fined. So this day, let's just chill and watch a funny movie, The Leap Year, and enjoy the end of the winter too, guys.
Is it all right to take the fine?
It's romantic. Come on.
Yeah.
Romance is dead.
Thank you, Ksenia. If you've noticed the complete absence of a pottery studio locally, you're not alone. Joelle Broussard introduces us to two women looking to tap into that unfulfilled market.
Do you enjoy pottery? Well, you're in luck. There's a new pottery studio opening soon in Ford City. The studio is being opened by two local women, Giselle Bick and Lisa Gabriel. Lisa thinks with the booming popularity of pottery, it's the perfect time to bring their studio to Ford City.
And what inspired us both to start the studio in Windsor was that there isn't one. You know, there's one in Tecumseh, and of course Giselle teaches out in Bell River, but there isn't one in a big, city like Windsor. And it just felt like such an opportunity because, when I was getting back into pottery, so were a lot of people. And I think we all crave an opportunity to be expressive and to use our hands again in this, era of AI and computers and our phones. It allows us to sort of like sink back into an activity that I think we all did as kids.
The studio is set to open for mid-April, but for more information, you can visit www.fordcitypotters.com. For the MediaPlex, I'm Joelle Broussard.
Dale Kabukian gives us an inside look on what it's like to be him. I've often wondered. This is a Dale in the life.
Hi there, it's me, Dale Kabukin, a self-proclaimed cutie from Asia's Pearl of the Orient, also known as the Philippines. In this podcast, you will hear some of the differences in culture, views, and other things I have noticed living and studying in the Great White North, aka Canada. So sit back, relax, and delight in this episode of A Dale in the Life. Some of you may not know it, but I have a few years of work in the media industry. I worked as a writer, researcher, and production assistant for a magazine show in the Philippines. I also work as a weather presenter and reporter for an accumulated 9 months. That sounded like a dream. For sure, I felt like I was walking in cloud 9. However, I wasn't living. If you ask me if I was enjoying it, the answer is no. During my 4 years of study at the university in the Philippines, they didn't teach us everything we needed. They gave us a curriculum that sounded great. But if you ask me what I learned, you'll hear exactly. They taught us literature, Greek mythology, psychology, and how the brain works. They also taught us how to remain awake when studying late at night. All those sounded great, but Mary, it wasn't even related to my major. Have I ever told you what my major was? It was mass communication major in broadcasting. We've had tons of research and assignments, but we didn't do much of technical and applicable skills. After graduating, I was lucky to land some jobs, but looking back, it was a nightmare. I didn't know how to conduct interviews. I didn't know how to spot news or generate ideas. I didn't know how to make a news package. If we were to list down some of the things I didn't know, I could fill up a paper in Times New Roman, 11 point at single space, back to back. But here at St. Clair College, everything was taught to us. Even the dreaded how to conduct an interview, because as an anxious person, talking to people is my least favorite. I remember in the first semester in Miss Rebecca's class, she asked us to do our first ever streeter. It was the time Queen Elizabeth died, so we have to speak to people regarding her death. Oh boy, I didn't expect to get rejected thrice before I get my people. It was just so different in my country. It wasn't tough to get a streeter in the Philippines, simply because everybody wanted the spotlight. I realized that Canadians value their personal and private life. If someone didn't want to be on record, look for another person who's willing. It might sound easy, but through resilience, I'll get the juicy clips I needed. Alright, that's it for today. Bye!
We're back at it with a report from our sports guy, Cam Segan. Go Sports!
Welcome to the Sports Guys. I'm Cam Segan. This week is yet again just the sports guy. Maybe Jesse saw spring training started yesterday and it reminded him of the Blue Jays offseason. That's enough to give even the strongest of people a hefty headache. With football done for the year and baseball not really starting yet, we've got a hockey show lined up. Speaking of heavy, there's a guy in the NHL these days terrorizing goaltenders with his heavy shot. Austin Matthews is on a heater right now, scoring 10 goals in his last 5 games. It's getting pretty hard to keep track of how many he's on pace to end up with this season, but it's well over 70. He's trying to become the league's first 70 goal scorer since Alex McGillney lit the lamp 76 times in the 92-93 season. The really good news for Leafs fans is all those Matthews goals are leading to marks in the win column. Winning their last 6 games, the Leafs have played inspired hockey since Morgan Rielly tried to decapitate Ottawa's Ridley Gregg. Saying that, Leafs fans know this song and dance very well. Every year, around this period of the season, in fact, the Leafs are always heating up. Everybody and their mother knows they can win games in February. Will they win a game in May this year? In a word, no. Another team people are excited about around here is the Detroit Red Wings. They're flying high after an admittedly electric overtime win against Colorado last night. Now, you won't find a guy who disliked the Kane pickup for the Red Wings more than me. I still don't like it, really. In fact, for all the good that Stevie Y has done with the Wings as GM, I have a problem with his free agency spending as a whole. It's never a good idea to give money in term to middle-tier players. Ask Ken Holland how that's worked out for him in the salary cap era. But I will say the on-ice results have been better than I expected. Patrick Kane doesn't play a lick of defense, although that's not what he's paid to do. And he's actually doing that coming off a hip resurfacing surgery that has killed the careers of many. All things considered, it's been a win for Detroit thus far. As the season progresses, the playoff picture is starting to take shape. The trade deadline will give us more input on which teams will be playing hockey in April and those that'll be polishing up their golf swings in Florida. With 4 Canadian teams likely to be in the playoffs, is it finally time for the 31-year Stanley Cup drought to end? The March 8th trade deadline will help us figure it out. That's it from the Sports Guy. I'll see you next week.
The St. Clair Saints men's basketball team are in the midst of another playoff run. Jesse LaRouche has more.
It's playoff time here at the Sportsplex. You know what that means. Win, you stay in. Lose, you go home. And if there's one thing for sure, St. Clair, the reigning champs, are not trying to go home.
As the game tipped off Saturday at the Sportsplex, it started off with La Cité putting up a fight. But that didn't last long, as the Saints got a little bit of inspiration from the women's softball team, who unveiled their second banner in 2 years. The men's basketball team, who was looking to do the same, started playing like they had a repeat in mind, outscoring La Cité by 43 while doing it in style. With championship hopes alive and well, the Saints are looking to accomplish a feat that hasn't been done in a decade.
Yeah, so the OCAA is super competitive. The last time there was back-to-back winners, I think, was 11-12 Sheridan. We're in 2024 now, so it doesn't happen a lot. These guys know that, but we're relying on our vets and our new faces.
While the Saints may be eyeing back-to-back OCAA gold, team captain Josiah Deere has his eyes on a national championship, and he says the plan is simple.
Just take it game by game and try to get that gold and go back-to-back and then try to get a national championship too.
The Saints will continue their playoff push next week at home versus Centennial. For MediaPlex, I'm Jesse LaRouche.
If you've noticed, the complete absence...
That's okay.
The Windsor Spitfires are winning down their season, and with an eye towards the future, Cam Segan takes a deeper dive into the June's NHL draft.
For everybody wanting the highest chance at the #1 overall pick in the OHL draft this year, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. The Windsor Spitfires have been playing some pretty good hockey as of late, and they now sit third last in the league. Playing 500 hockey down the stretch isn't the most glamorous situation to be in, but in a rebuilding year, it bodes well for the future. Speaking of that future, the NHL draft is fast approaching, and the Spits have multiple players that will be drafted. At the top of the list is Liam Greentree, who is a surefire first-round selection. He'll likely be the second OHL player taken in the draft behind London's Sam Dickinson. There are two other players from that star-studded 2022 OHL draft class who will also be drafted. Anthony Cristoforo came into the year as a potential first-round pick, and while he definitely won't be taken that high, he will be taken at some point. As the club's number one defenseman at only 17 years old, this season has been very up and down. Nonetheless, defensemen with his offensive talent are always highly coveted. After a slow start, AJ Spellacy has taken his game to the next level since the trade deadline. Forming a productive second line with Colton Smith and Noah Morneau, Spellacy has all the physical gifts that make NHL scouts froth at the mouth. At 6'3" and at least 195 pounds, he possesses a ridiculous combination of speed and physicality. If he continues to play with the ferocity he's shown in the last 2 or so months, he could be an early round pick in the NHL draft.
Ramandeep Kaur visited the Windsor International Aquatic and Training Center to talk to one of the gym enthusiasts about their daily routine.
So when I don't eat before I come. I'm on an empty stomach every morning. And then when I finish, I go home and I start with cereal. So I haven't eaten since yesterday, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But when I get home, I'm gonna have salad. I'll have cereal, then salad, then I'll have rice with meat, vegetables, and that's it for the evening.
Is it better for the mental health?
100%. Everything, all of it is. The food or, yeah, everything is.
Or for the physical health?
Yes, the two together. The two go together.
Okay. What are the exercises do you do on the daily basis?
I walk here quite a distance every day, and then stretching. That is a big part of it. Like basic yoga moves, but in between, after I run, I stretch. So that's the other part of it.
How long have been do you this exercises?
Well, I'm on a 12-week stint right now. So it's been 12 weeks and 3 days that I haven't missed a day.
What are the strategies do you use in the gym?
Good question. So, and this was the other exercise, mental. When I'm on the treadmill and when I'm in the pool, I'm repeating certain sayings that I've gathered over my life that are motivating. Like, I'm the best. Nobody's better than me. I can be the best, whatever I want. I say things like that over and over, mentally, just to focus. It's like a meditation.
Okay. Do you have any suggestion for the people?
Well, yeah, I would say just like that. I know what I'm doing. I was trained. So, but people can start with classes. I think like yoga classes, things like that, get people reintroduced to their body. And, try to make sure they're going overall. Try different things. Like many people come to the gym, but they don't really know what they're doing. So look at YouTube, right, for instructions.
Do you think it is necessary for all the people?
Well, I don't want to fall into a trick question because some people I see they don't exercise and everything's great. Yeah. But I think some level of activity is necessary for humans.
The only thing I need to get motivated is Taylor Swift. That's it. Do you have a sweet tooth? Ksenia's here to give us a recipe for a tasty treat.
So, are you craving for sweets? An easy recipe from my childhood called pastry potato. Fun fact, you will not use any potato. You will need cookies, which can be the cheapest one. Usually that kind of kids have for lunch, or Maria style, or even dried pound cake. Need to crash it. I use a food processor. If you don't have one, you put everything in a Ziploc bag, close it, and even roll your tumbler over it. You need equal parts of cookies and condensed milk. If you take 250 grams of cookies, you take 250 grams of condensed milk. Add 70 grams of cacao powder and use 1 tablespoon vanilla extract or rum. You can decorate it while you're rolling it into the balls. And you can decorate it with coconut, shredded coconut, sprinkles, or nuts. Mix it all and just enjoy, and bon appetit.
Thanks, Ksenia.
Why were you speaking slowly and making hand gestures? It's not easy.
Because you do this with your
You
hand.
have to, it's like meditative, right?
Yes.
It's like a whole thing.
And don't forget to put it also in the fridge.
In the fridge? Okay.
Yeah, it will be
Perfect.
very nice.
All
Fresh
right.
one.
Well, it's no secret we're a chatty bunch, which is why we gather to talk about the issues that matter to you. Here's our segment, Let's Talk.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Let's Talk. I'm here with my power panel.
Ksenia Semenova.
I'm Riley Livingston.
I'm Pauline Bunyay.
And I got a question. Are you ready for some football? Well, the Super Bowl was last Sunday where the Chiefs faced against the 49ers to see who would take the trophy home. Last week, it was reported that the game was the most watched telecast in history with over 123 million viewers. Now, there were a lot of wholesome moments, such as, commercials, the halftime performance, and all I gotta ask is, what'd you guys think?
I wasn't in this 123 of millions people.
You didn't watch it?
I don't know nothing about football and sports. For me, it's like Super Bowl. Why it's a bowl? I told about you guys before. For me, I imagine a Super Bowl of ramen.
Okay.
So yes, it's like Super Bowl, but I understand that for millions of people, it's the most important moment in their year. What's happening, especially with all the celebrities that were there. More than 30 celebrities, I think, were there.
Yeah. It's a pretty big deal.
For some, it's like the most important moment in their life.
Yeah, some people, especially if that's the player's first time going to Super Bowl, thousands and thousands of dollars for tickets, right, to go see it. I thought it was good. I didn't see it at the beginning because I had to work, so I was like rushing home to go see it. But I thought it was a good game. I normally don't really follow the football game, but I can follow the football game, so it's an interesting game to follow. And then I really just watched for commercials and halftime show, which I thought were pretty good.
Yeah, I have to say, I enjoyed the whole aspect of it, even though I went to Twitter to get the highlights, but I loved the Super Bowl commercials, especially the Twisters movie trailer, which was so good. I felt like I was transported back to 1996. And it was just great. I mean, Taylor was there.
Yes.
I mean,
She was the talk of the evening.
Let's be clear. That's why I really watched it, because Taylor Swift was in attendance.
Yes, with her whole little group of friends. I saw Blake Lively. I saw Lana Del Rey.
Ice Spice.
Oh, yes, she was there
She was
too.
there as well.
Yes.
And you could clearly see, they had to explain to her what was going on.
And my mom was wondering who gave Taylor Swift, the crash course in football, because she seemed to know exactly what was happening when it was happening. Did she follow football before? Somebody had to have, sat her down and explained, this is what's good and this is what's bad, right? Because there's very complicated plays that happen. You don't know whether you're supposed to be, happy or sad, or, you don't know if they're winning or not. It's hard to understand. She seemed to know exactly what to do. So I was like, somebody's coached her.
Somebody in her orbit of people coached her. And what really got me was soon after it was revealed that she and her family, they went to the club afterwards to celebrate. I'm like, that's the last place I want to bring my parents is to the club. I can't have them doing this.
Why?
She's Taylor Swift. She's Taylor Swift, so she can take anybody who she wants anywhere.
I think her mom is always supporting her like this on the backstage.
Yes, maybe. So what about you, Pauline? What did you think? Did you watch the game?
Well, for me, I thought I've never watched a Super Bowl never before, and I know that I was in the house and everyone was so attentive to the TV, and I was, what is going on? And when I go to the living room, I say Super Bowl, blah, blah, and oh, cool, and I go to see, and the only thing that I see is a bunch of shots from Taylor Swift, and I'm like.
That's normally not what it's like.
Not normally, no.
And I was like, what is going on? So we started playing Uno.
Yes.
And from the hearing, I heard something like, I'm Michael Cera. And I was like, I went to the commercial and I saw this Michael Cera commercial. It was hilarious.
Yes. Sarah V.
I'm Sarah V. Ha ha ha. And I started laughing. But it's very cool. I like the commercials because I know that someone told me that they invested millions of dollars in every
$1 million per 30 seconds for
seriously for the commercial of the cream.
for the commercials
Yes.
of the Super Bowl.
Any Super, not just that one, but
No,
Super Bowl
for-
commercials,
over
because
all-
there's so many people watching. There's like $1 million per second to air it on television.
Like-
So they pay millions and millions of dollars to put these commercials out there. So that's why they're such a
Think we
big
could get this on at the Super Bowl?
deal.
We need publicity,
I
please.
don't think so.
That's this week's episode. If you want to chime in, you can comment down below to join the conversation. And if you want to see the full episode, you can head over to the Zach Tech Productions YouTube channel. Until next time, keep talking to each other. Bye.
Riley got a new segment exploring her quirky instrument collection. Here's Riley Music Corner.
Hello and welcome to Riley's Music Corner. This is a new segment where I will be exploring different instruments to see how they work. Let's get started. Today, as you can see, I have an accordion. It's not really a real accordion because real accordions are much, much bigger. It's more like a baby accordion. It would technically be considered a concertina, but I'll get to that in a minute. So first of all, many of you have probably seen an accordion, but what is an accordion? It is in a family of instruments that includes the concertina and the harmonica. They're all types of instruments that use air to blow through to make noise. There's different types of accordions. This one you can see has buttons on it. Some have piano keys all along the side. Typically one side has bass notes and the other side has the melody. So how does an accordion work? So you can see, if I'm opening it back and forth, it doesn't make any noise. So an accordion is called a free reed instrument. So there's reeds inside here, which are pieces of metal or wood that vibrate when the air blows through them, and it makes a noise. So the accordions have a complex system. They're called pallets, which is a little bit beyond my understanding, but I'll put up a diagram so you guys can see. But it only really makes sound when you're pressing a button and moving it. So if you can see, it only then does it make a sound. So this one makes certain sounds going in one direction, and then different sounds when it goes in the other direction. So that makes it tricky to kind of figure out different notes, but it's very fun. It's more like a child's accordion, but I find it very fun. So where does the accordion come from is a question that you might have. It originally came from Germany and Eastern Europe. It was believed to have been invented in the 1800s, though there's some speculation that it might have come around earlier. With European immigration, it ended up coming to the Americas, so it's used in folk music all over the world, considered the instrument of the common people. So you'll hear it a lot in like Eastern Canadian folk music. You'll hear it in South American countries. They use it in their popular music. You'll hear it in jazz. You'll hear it in European folk music. There's even classical compositions for the accordion that exist. There's musical conservatories in Europe that actually have an entire department for accordions, like they would for other instruments like the piano or the winds or something like that. So let's play it a little bit and see what it sounds like. I will preface this by saying I'm not an accordion player. I can play the harp, I can play the piano, I can play a couple other things, but accordion is not my instrument. So let's just see what it sounds like. So it has the different notes you can see listed here in different numbers. And depending on which one I press and which way I go, it will make different notes. And these are some air valves here, so it makes a different noise and gives it a different quality of sound when it's pressed. But it's pretty cool because if I don't press any notes, it doesn't make any noise. It's only when I press the buttons. So I'm not very skilled, but I hope you enjoyed that presentation of the accordion anyways. Thank you so much for joining me. Maybe this will inspire you to try out your own accordion or concertina. We'll see you next time. Zach's back for all things weird. What have you got this time?
So the accordion blows air out like a fart. It's Friday, and that means it's time for the weirdest news found on the internet. Time for weird news.
You're waiting for this, yes?
Yes, I was. Tonight on Weird Maritime News, a stingray named Charlotte is pregnant despite having no male companion. Charlotte is about 2,300 miles from her natural habitat under the waves off Southern California, and she hasn't shared a tank with a male of her species in at least 8 years. It was rumored Charlotte may have had relations with one of the sharks in her tank, but that was quickly debunked by a stingray expert who said that would have been impossible. Charlotte is due in the next couple of weeks. Just reinforces the old saying, what are men good for?
Nothing, apparently.
Not at all. It's time for the weirdest news stories out of the Great White North. Stories that'll make you say, oh, Canada. This one's a real bipartisan effort. A man has been sentenced after trying to smuggle snakes in his pants. According to the Montreal Gazette, Calvin Bautista crossed into northern New York with the hidden snakes on a bus from Montreal to New York City on July 15th, 2018. According to court documents, they were discovered by a U.S. Customs officer. Man, that's got to be an awkward question. What's that wiggling around in your pants? That's this edition of Weird News, and now time for your dad joke of the week. What did the ocean say to the beach? Nothing. It just waved. I'm Zachary Ballog. You cannot make this stuff up.
Thank you, Zach, and thank you for tuning in.
You've been listening to MediaPlex Live.
On today's show, we've had contributions from
Lauren Briscoe,
Deeksha,
Joelle Broussard,
Dale Kabukian,
Elliot St. Aubin,
our sports guy is Cam Segan,
Jesse LaRouche,
Ramandeep Kaur,
and Jackson Bondi.
I'm Riley Livingston.
And I'm Zachary Ballog.
And I'm Ksenia Semenova.
And I'm Ibrahim Rana.
See you next week.
Bye. Bye.